Y'all, I was sitting here talking for like, I don't even know. I don't even want to tell you how long. It was a total rookie move. I was sitting here, I'm like, oh, 1, 2, 3 first. I was like, hey guys, what's going on? And I was looking to see why the counter hadn't gone up, like for how many people are here in the live. And it was kind of like, what's going on? And then I look and it says go live. That's the go live button, right? And you hit that to go live. Anyway, I was just doing a very long explanation that I'm not going to do it again. I'm just like, what? Anywho, we're just going to jump right on in. The last live we were talking about Manendra Patel. So I think it might be good to just jump right on in and then we'll get to Rodney Hinton. I don't want to park too long. But if you're interested, this is what got me about Mahendra Patel is that even though he interacted with this woman, and in my opinion, Mahendra Patel, he's this Indian man who interacted with a white lady in Georgia, in Walmart, and you're getting ready to see what happened. We're just going to jump right into the hearing. This is my fear factor, or this is what I just don't like about this whole thing. The unfortunate thing is we're in a um whoever's got the receipts type of world now. And it's really it feels like 1752 that some woman just complained that somebody did something that he didn't do, that clearly it doesn't look like he did, and he spent 45 days in jail. It's like interactions with people have to be it's like everything has to be so buttoned up because somebody could really have you caught up. Someone could actually have you really caught up and say something happened that didn't happen, and then you're caught up and you have to get a lawyer. You sitting in the jail. It's crazy. It's crazy. And the way people are, I think everybody will sit here and think, well, it's not going to happen to you, and it might not ever happen to you. But the way the world is right now, I think anyone who's falsely accused, and whether, okay, so I don't even really want to bring up Michael Jackson Bolanos, but remember the guy Michael Jackson Bolanos in Detroit who was breaking into cars? He admitted to breaking into cars and he ends up walking up on a dead body. Now keep in mind, the lady who passed away, her boyfriend told some story about he had been on some drugs and he did it, and then next thing you know, he didn't do it. He recanted his story, and then, oh yeah, what about the guy who was breaking into cars? We'll give him the murder charge, right? There was like little to no evidence to connect him to the deceased victim, other than maybe like some random things, but nothing that really said murder. um Look, I'm not it's weird. It's very weird and it really messes with your sensibilities, but Walmart is really kind of like going to Main Street. Walmart is a place where everybody goes for the most part. You might go to Target, you might do this, you might not. You might go to farmers markets, but everybody ends up at Walmart at least once or twice a year. Even if you're not a Walmart person, you don't have to be. Everybody has to go to Walmart at least every blue moon, once a year, once every whenever. And there's such a diverse clientele, right? You don't know who's shopping in Walmart. Someone very wealthy to someone dirt, someone who's has no means at all, right? Um just to think that people are really making up stories out here these days, have nothing better to do. Turns out this lady who accused this Indian man, um and I'm talking South Asian Indian, not Native American. Not that it would make a difference, but at the end of the day, she seems to, this may be her second situation where she has accused somebody of a melanated skin tone, of something that they did not do. And it sounds it what happened is that she may have accused an Uber or Lyft driver of doing something, a mess, right? Anyway, let's just jump into the hearing. Um, and then we're going to get over there to Rodney Hinton. Rodney Hinton is the dad of a young man who passed away. He was shot by, it's Hamilton County. Is that Cincinnati? Cincinnati police. He was in a stolen vehicle with 3 other guys. This has all been alleged, right? He was in a stolen vehicle. The young men fled on foot, and you hear the he's got a gun, he's got a gun, he's got a gun, and pop, 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 and Mr. Young Hinton is now deceased, right? So within 24 hours, his family was invited down to the police station for a full report. This is what happened. This is the body cams that we have, X, Y, and Z. Mr. Rodney snapped. They said he got in his car. He was not able to drive. Maybe he was having some sort of panic or anxiety attack. He was in a state, right? So he went, rode off with family, came back. Anyway, through this mental break he was having, he comes back, he gets into his car, he leaves the police station. This is Mr. Hinton, whose son was just killed by a police officer 24 hours ago, and then sees the body cam footage, and then is in they probably really need to have some sort of counseling there when they advise families of, some sort of traumatic incident, to make sure if people need some sort of medical intervention, because I can only imagine the snap could be real when things happen and they're bringing a family in to show them evidence of something. Anyway, he comes back for like a second or third time, and then he leaves in his vehicle, and he like plows into an officer doing traffic duty. And this was during is it the University of Cincinnati? There's a college graduation going on, and he literally plows into not the police officer that killed his son, but a police officer doing traffic duty. So someone who had nothing to do with the situation other than he works for the law enforcement agency, and actually was retired 33 years. He was in his 5th month of retirement, but he was helping out, kind of like a resource officer type thing. So he was still wearing his uniform, still working, but in a retirement, like part-time special occasion capacity, and was killed on these kids' graduation. It's sad. It's sad all the way around. Clearly the man was grief stricken and in a sad mental state. The prosecutors, so this is what I heard. They had a GoFundMe up for Mr. Hinton's legal defense fund, or whatever the case might be. Maybe they took that fund right down. I think the Fraternal Order of the Police went and complained, something like that. If I'm correct. Correct me on any details. Just sad, very bad and sad. The family is like, we're praying for the officer that died. We're praying for the officer that killed my grandson. That's what the grandfather is saying, the father of Mr. Hinton and the grandfather of young Mr. Hinton. He said this is just a terrible situation. It's really terrible. But they're looking for the death penalty on Mr. Rodney Hinton. Anyway, I feel like I gave you like a high level overview of what happened, but let's get over here to the one thing I want you to see is at the end, if they show it. You might not see it here, but they showed it on Law and Crime. Let me tell you, Mr. Patel's community, baby, they turned out. They were in his community, turned out. Friends, neighbors, they had it packed out. Now, Mr. Hinton had his gallery packed out too. People came to see and show their support. So, anyway, let's get into it. This is the first hearing we're going to take a look at. This is Ashley Merchant. Ashley Merchant. Ashley came through during the YSL hearing when they were going to put Brian Steele was listed in contempt of court. So we know Ashley Merchant. Ashley Merchant also was over there trying to drag our beloved Fonnie, everyone can get it, Willis. So, I mean, Ashley's cool and everything. I mean, we know she's got a reputation, she's well respected, all of those things, but I'm still side eyeing on the strength of Fonnie, everyone can get it, Willis. Okay. You know, it is what it is. Someone's got to do it. Some people have a dirty job, and you know, they like sometimes you don't have the popular job, right? But the job still needs to be done. Is that correct? So I'm still side eyeing Miss Merchant though. Even though she's, you know, done a good service for this man. He seems, you know, I believe what he said. He was ma'am is just giving me Karen vibe. So, you know, Rodney Hinton's case is deeply hurt. It's very bad. It's almost like a Shakespearean tragedy, huh? It's on some uh you know, it's on a Shakespearean tragedy level, you know. Okay. Let's get into it. Let me find my kidnapping suspect, guys.
Thanks.
Hit the thumbs up for me. I do appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Record can reflect that the defendant is now in the courtroom. Let me just put on the record, since we're allowing some people to witness this via Zoom. My name is Judge Greg Poole. I'm in courtroom 6400 of the Cobb County Superior Courthouse. This is an open courtroom. The doors are open to the public. They're free to come and go as they please. And we don't expect anyone to be testifying via Zoom. I've just allowed certain people to witness via Zoom. And with that, who's representing the state?
I will be today, Your Honor.
Mr. Evans.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jesse. And we're here for the motion for bond. And I just let everybody know I have an incredibly busy day. This isn't my only case, and I slid it in at 11:30 just as a courtesy, basically. So I know there's a stack of other motions. Do we anticipate needing anything other than the motion for bond?
No, Judge. Well, when we had asked the court about that as well, and it was our interpretation that nothing else would be heard today. I talked to the state about one issue regarding a protective order, and I can address that in my argument for bond.
Okay. Well, having said that, I'm ready, Ms. Merchant.
Great. Thank you so much, Judge. And Judge, thank you for letting some people in support appear by Zoom. Also, the jury assembly room has been opened for other supporters. We have right now about 150 people down there, and they're still pouring in.
Make sure that was open for you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Judge, we are here because the state has accused Mahendra Patel, and he goes by Mick, but Mick Patel, of, at first it was kidnapping, and then it moved to attempted kidnapping. So he was arrested on March 21st of 2025 for an incident that allegedly happened at a local Walmart on March 18th. The officer took out a warrant for kidnapping, not attempted, assault, and battery. Subsequently, the state indicted that case on April 3rd. We had a bond and probable cause hearing scheduled for April 16th, but when the state indicted it, they indicted it for attempted kidnapping and then misdemeanor assault and misdemeanor bond. So we were not able to have that bond hearing. Mr. Patel was not given bond at first appearance. At that time, he was charged with kidnapping of a minor. The state essentially is alleging that Mr. Patel had an interaction with a lady named Caroline Miller at this local Walmart. They've said that Ms. Miller was pointing out to Mr. Patel where the Tylenol was in the store, and that Mr. Patel grabbed the child and started pulling the child away from Ms. Miller. Ms. Miller has said that they engaged in a back and forth and a tug of war, as she described it, for 10 seconds before she was able to finally get the child back. Luckily, we have video. The video shows that Mr. Patel did lean in to Ms. Miller.
Just on that alone, she said there was a tug of war for your kid, and the guy was right around the corner. And there was a lady, Walmart associate, not too far by that you'll be able to see during the video. And no one heard you screaming, "Let go of my kid." Da, 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 da. Girl.
Miller and her child. They were in a handicap scooter, mobility cart. There's different names. She is admittedly not handicapped, has admitted to that publicly, and was riding it because her child enjoyed it, sort of like a joyride. He interacted with her. We'll show you the entire interaction.
So because your kids want to go on a joyride, you take the scooter that someone else might need, someone who's 50 months pregnant, someone who just had surgery, or someone who's just too old to walk the footprint of the store, and you're over here playing with the kids on the cart, which is not a toy.
But the relevant, super relevant portion is less than 5 seconds. Before
Less than 5 seconds?
Less than 5 seconds.
Okay.
And I'll walk you through that. It's about a 5-minute clip, and I'll walk you through that in a moment. But we're very lucky that we have that. So Ms. Miller pointed to where the Tylenol was. Mr. Patel went, got the Tylenol, and the video couldn't be clearer. Mr. Patel did not try to kidnap this child. What it shows, just to walk you through the timeline, because I think it's important, it shows starting at 8:17, you can see Mr. Patel entering the Walmart. And I'm going to show you parts of this, not all of it.
He's still home with us. Thankful. That's how Caroline Miller is feeling after a
Bitch.
frightening encounter at this Ackworth Walmart.
But as much as we would love to think it'll never happen, it will and does. And to be prepared for when it does.
She says her kids wanted to ride the motorized wheelchair. They were almost done shopping when she says 56-year-old Mahendra Patel asked for help finding Tylenol.
When I pointed my arm out this way to point it to the direction of where it was, that is when he reached down, put both his hands on Jude, and grabbed him out of my lap.
She says it happened so fast.
I'm like, no, no, no. What are you doing? What are you doing? He pulled him. I pulled him back. We're tug of warring.
She says then he walked off, bought the Tylenol, and left.
We saw him checking out, but before we could really do anything, he was gone.
3 days later, police arrested Patel.
He was going about his business. You know what? I think she I don't know if she's with her man or not. Let me give you two scenarios. She called her husband and told him what happened. He was like, call the police. Who the hell's touching my son? Or she wanted some attention and told them a brown man touched on their kid or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like one way or the other, somebody had to have been like, yeah, call the police. The fuck? What happened? It's crazy.
To see the car he got into and followed cameras and used our flock cameras in the city and was able to get a tag number and track him down.
But Miller still thinks Walmart needs to have better security.
Obviously, these places are targeted. You know, we know what's going on in the area around here. How many missing posters of kids do they have on their very own wall?
She says she's now teaching her kids a lesson she didn't think she'd have to this early.
She's more prepared for the situation if it ever happens again. She knows to scream now. He knows to kick and bite and get away.
Did you know to scream? What? You didn't scream. Where's your husband? Your husband's not there for the photo shoot, the press conference with the news. I'm trying to figure out if you are telling them to scream, you didn't scream in the store? It looks like she got her hands full. Those kids can't even sit down for a minute.
He's still home with us.
Thankful. That's how Caroline Miller is feeling after a frightening encounter at this Ackworth Walmart.
But as much as we would love to think it'll never happen, it will and does. And to be prepared for when it does.
She says her kids wanted to ride the motorized wheelchair. They were almost done shopping when she says 56-year-old Mahendra Patel asked for help finding Tylenol.
When I pointed my arm out this way to point it to the direction of where it was, that is when he reached down, put both his hands on Jude, and grabbed him out of my lap.
She says it happened so fast.
I'm like, no, no, no. What are you doing? What are you doing? He pulled him. I pulled him back. We're tug of warring.
She says then he walked off, bought the Tylenol, and left.
We saw him checking out, but before we could really do anything, he was gone.
3 days later, police arrested Patel.
We were able to see the car he got into and followed cameras and used our flock cameras in the city and was able to get a tag number and track him down.
But Miller still thinks Walmart needs to have better security.
Obviously, these places are targeted. You know, we know what's going on in the
Obviously,
area
these
around
places
here.
are targeted.
How many missing posters of kids do they have on their very own wall?
She says she's now teaching her kids a lesson she didn't think she'd have to this early.
She's more prepared for the situation if it ever happens again. She knows to scream now. He knows to kick and bite and get away.
Okay. What about with the Lyft driver? What about that?
With new mixing bowl mashup plus
Girl.
fan favorite s'mores.
All right, let's get back. Just to put just some additional context so we know what's what.
But and if you want to see more of it, we can show you all you want. But what we've done is pull out the relevant parts. So he enters the Walmart at 8:17. Then at 8:18, you can see him enter the pharmacy area, and then you can see at 8:19 he's looking for the Tylenol. So and at the same time, he had his cell phone and he was actually texting his daughter, who's here, because he cares for his 86-year-old mother who has osteoarthritis and requires a special kind of Tylenol. So it was this rapid release gel Tylenol. He was trying to find it, and the daughter who was helping him, the daughter who also has cared for the mother, was actually sent him a picture. So we've actually asked for the cell phone to be returned because we wanted that evidence. But the state, when we asked for it to be returned, they took out a search warrant for it. So it's still in their custody. But we've seen those. And so we know that he was texting about this Tylenol. The first interaction that he has with Miss Miller is at 8:21. And that's the first time you see them. She's in this scooter. He's got his hands in his pockets. This is what I'll call the first interaction. Then you see her sort of puttering along in the mobility cart, and you see her sort of clip the corner. There's an end cap display case. Sort of clip the corner of that end cap display case, stop. And at 8:21 and 45 seconds is when you see Mr. Patel lean in. And what we've talked to the witnesses and how it's sort of been described by a lay witness was like a father, like the child's reaching for Mr. Patel like a dad, like if you walk up to a baby and they reach for you, and Mr. Patel leans in and reaches for the child like a father would, is how it was described. Mr. Patel offered to hold the baby while she got up to show him where the Tylenol was, to point, because she's trying to point at that time. And he believes fully that she's handicapped, and she's got two young children. One is actually at her feet. So it's this mobility cart with the basket that you're supposed to put groceries in. And then one child's actually at her feet and the one's sitting on her lap. Thinks that she needs help. He's been described by many people as a very friendly older gentleman. Leans in. You can see this. You'll see this. Leans towards him. Miller leans back. He immediately backs up, puts his hands back in his pocket. You see him back away at 8:21 and 51 seconds, put his hands back in his pocket, and she actually continues to stand up, point out where the Tylenol is, and he continues to walk towards the Tylenol. At 8:21 and 57 seconds, you see him leave and go to the Tylenol. Then less than 5 seconds later, you see Miss Miller back up. She actually backs into the display case at this point. The display case visibly moves. Then you see her run over her child's foot. Her child actually does fall out of the cart. She runs over the child's foot, and another bystander who's there, who had witnessed the other interaction with Mr. Patel earlier, he had been right there within arm's reach. The gentleman who described it as like a father, interaction.
I hate it for the kid, but I'm so glad that she ran over the kid's foot without hurting the kid, of course. But it just shows to her instability. It shows to her behavior. So the fact that she was kind of discombobulated, she's bumping into end caps, she's stumbling as she's giving directions. And then furthermore, she bumps into an end cap. The kid falls off the scooter. She runs over the kid's foot. I don't know if she was trying to save face. I wonder, was her man there? Some man that, boyfriend, a husband, somebody. It just seems like very odd second guessing behavior, that maybe she told someone something like, oh, this weird thing happened. This guy kept talking to me in the store. And someone was like, call the police, call the police. Not to say she couldn't have come up with it on her own, but people are very weird. Also, just something to activate, like having some business, right?
That gentleman jumps in and grabs the child because the child's foot is sort of under the mobility cart. At this point, that gentleman, and his name is Mr. Leva. He's on the warrant, so that's public record. His name is Mr. Leva. So he is talking with Miss Miller at that point. And then you see Mr. Patel sort of have a brief interaction with them as he's walking to get another employee. So this is the second interaction, but the first interaction after this alleged kidnapping. Mr. Patel then goes and finds a Walmart employee, and this is at 8:23 and 09. The employee comes back and takes him to find the Tylenol. Miss Miller's creeping along, and Mr. Patel and Miss Miller walk past.
Y'all, look at the judge's clerk. She's looking like, are you serious?
Mr. Patel and this Walmart employee walk past Miss Miller in the mobility cart. She says nothing. Mr. Patel goes, gets the Tylenol with this employee. So this is the third interaction. He finds the Tylenol. He leaves the pharmacy area. And at 8:25 and 19 seconds, the fourth interaction with Miss Miller, he walks past her and he shows her the Tylenol. Like, hey, look, I got what I was looking for. Like everybody had been helping him. Nobody could find this Tylenol. He shows it to her and she gives him a thumbs up. Then you see at 8:27, Miss Miller is talking with that same Walmart employee. At the same time, you see Mr. Patel waiting in line to pay for the Tylenol. He pays with his debit card. He gets it in a bag. He walks towards the exit. And then you see him for about 30 seconds talking with a Walmart employee. You know, the people that check your receipts at the end, joking, talking with that employee, taps him on the shoulder. You can see he is friendly with everybody. Talking with all the employees, you know, things like that. He's a very friendly gentleman. You can see that. The entire interaction that Mr. Patel was in Walmart was 11 minutes. He interacted with Ms. Miller 3 times after she claims that he snatched her baby. There were lots of employees around, lots of people around for all of these interactions. Nobody stopped. Nobody says anything. There was a gentleman with an arm's reach. Nothing. Nobody screams. Ms. Miller waited 5 full minutes to actually tell a Walmart employee. The employee had to try to convince her to call the police. We've interviewed this employee, said it was very surprising, didn't know why she didn't want to call the police. She just wanted to report it to Walmart. She waited a full 30 minutes to actually call the police. She was outside with her father and called and said, you know, hey, I'm sorry it took me so long to call you, but I got my baby back. Mr. Patel didn't flee. Mr. Patel was in for a while after this alleged interaction. He was in Walmart for almost 10 minutes.
What'd she say to the father? I'm sorry it took me so long to call you. I got my baby back. So was she lollygagging around the store and wanted to have a reason that she didn't even drive? So she's an adult. I don't know. So she said her father was outside. Does she not have a driver's license?
They called the police. She was outside with her father and called and said, you know, hey, I'm sorry it took me so long to call you, but I got my baby back.
What? So she's sitting up here, girl, she might just be a certified pathological liar.
Mr. Patel didn't flee. Mr. Patel was in for a while after this alleged interaction. He was in Walmart for almost 10 minutes after this alleged interaction, still looking for the Tylenol. He talked to at least 3 employees after this alleged interaction. So during this time that the police have said that he fled, he remained in Walmart for a full 8 minutes. He talked to 3 different employees, and he passed Ms. Miller 3 times. He used his debit card, and then he waited at the door and talked to an employee for over 30 seconds. I'm going to show you if you want to pull up. So what we've done is we have a couple different videos. One of them, because nobody wants to watch 20 different surveillance videos, one of them shows Mr. Patel coming in, and if you want to go ahead and start playing that. And then I can show you the exact interaction.
Judge, if I can be heard, this isn't a trial to bond hearing, and so I would encourage the court to consider the legal bond considerations. I'm not sure that this is pertinent to that. If they want to submit this for the court's review, if they believe that they can articulate why it's pertinent to the issue of bond, which is the narrow issue we have today, I can understand that, and we can have that discussion. But if we're just playing videos to try the case in a bond hearing, the state would object to that. It's not relevant.
You have a relevancy objection.
Judge, I can't imagine anything that's more relevant than a video of the alleged incident. If you were trying to determine bond and you had a video of what the accused is accused of doing, that could potentially be the most relevant information you would ever have in a bond hearing, whether or not someone actually did what they're accused of. And the other thing is the state has alleged that he had flight, that he fled. That's been alleged from the beginning by the police. There's no, part of the bond factor is significant risk of fleeing or failure to appear in court. No. Is he a danger or a threat to anybody? You need to watch the video. He's not. He's clearly not. Is he at risk of committing any future felonies? No. I mean, I think it's highly relevant, and I would imagine the court would want to see this.
Well, I'll overrule the objection. As I read the pleadings, I looked at it as possible evidence that he would come to court, that he is not a flight risk. Of course, I haven't seen the video, right? So I don't know what it's going to show me, but I'll let you do that. And just so everybody knows, I have my own monitor down here. I'm not staring at the floor. So
wonderful.
I'll let you do that.
Thank you so much. All right, and this is the compilation. So the reason that we did this part is to kind of show the timeline. You can go ahead and play it. The timeline for the court when Mr. Patel enters the store at 8:16. And then you can see him walking, and he's on his phone, texting his daughter, which can be corroborated by the phone when we get it.
So his phone is sitting in evidence all this time. You arrest the man. You haven't checked his phone. Maybe they didn't even ask for it. They put it right into evidence, right? Ashley Merchant comes through and asks for the phone. Now the district attorney puts in a warrant for the phone, a search warrant for the phone, and then they have the phone in their possession, so she still can't get it, because there's also part of his alibi was that he was there to buy Tylenol, which several people noted that he was there for that reason, but he's also texting his daughter, and she's sending him a picture of what to purchase. And that's also part of his alibi, his evidence that, I'm in the store for a purpose. I was texting with my daughter, all of those things. They didn't even bother to search the phone. They put it in evidence. When Ashley Merchant comes through to request it, now you put in a search warrant for it and you get it before she can, because you guys have not bothered to investigate before you actually send it to a grand jury for indictment. It's like, what did they indict him on? I guess they say you can literally indict a ham sandwich, but like, seriously, it's that easy? Like, I would have thought there would be more to it than just this wackadoodle mom who says that someone tried to steal her kid and nobody really saw it, but they do know that you two were in the store together at the same time. And they actually not even just arrested him, but they indicted him. And if you weren't watching earlier, girls, let me tell you something. He was with Nesto. Nesto had some sort of interaction with him over at Cobb County.
Now you see him, he's walking to the
Crazy.
pharmacy section. This is the pharmacy section. And now this is when he actually interacts for the first time with Miss Miller. So that's Miss Miller in the cart, in the scooter. The first time that they've met, and they're talking about the Tylenol. And so the gentleman, you can see a gentleman in an orange shirt behind them. That's the gentleman I was talking about. That's the witness. His name is Mr. Leva.
All right.
He's the one that later assists.
All right.
And witnessed the whole thing. So this is the other view, so you can see how close Mr. Leva is. And behind this display cart is that's when you can see the beginning of Miss Miller's cart. So the alleged incident is happening now. Here's the other view of it, flipping back so you can see both views. That's the alleged incident right there. Then she points. He moves on, goes to get the Tylenol. She backs up into the display cart. She's laughing, joking with this gentleman. This is literally a split second after this alleged kidnapping. You see her child kind of get off the cart. She runs over the child's foot. The guy jumps in to help. She was having trouble with the cart. I mean, everybody says that. All of this is after this alleged kidnapping has taken place. There's Mr. Patel entering the video again. You see him walking past. He talks with this guy that's witnessed this alleged kidnapping. Miss Miller's right there, doesn't say a word. She's puttering along in her cart. He's chatting with this gentleman, asking about the Tylenol. This gentleman speaks Spanish, so the communication's a little bit difficult there. Mr. Patel goes to try and find a Walmart employee. He walks past Miss Miller again. There's that other interaction I mentioned, the third interaction, walks past her to find a Walmart employee. Again, this is all after this alleged kidnapping. So, he's not fleeing. Going to find another employee. There's the employee walking him back to the Walmart pharmacy to show him where the Tylenol is. So you can see Miss Miller puttering along in her cart in the back of this video. This employee shows Mr. Patel where the Tylenol is. Miss Miller puttering along still on her cart. Mr. Patel walks past her, shows her, look, I got the Tylenol. She gives him a thumbs up. He keeps going. That's when, at 8:27, that's when she first told this Walmart employee about this. At the same exact time, Mr. Patel is paying for his Tylenol, so he's still in the store. And you can see if you zoom in, and we didn't do that, but it's the rapid release Tylenol. It's special gel Tylenol it's the exact same label that his daughter texted him a picture of to buy. And Mr. Patel has no medical background. It's not surprising that he's asking his family for help. His wife's a doctor. His daughter's in medical school. So, it's not surprising he's asking for assistance with this. Pays with his card in his name, linked to his bank account. Him talking with this employee on the way out. Complete opposite of fleeing. He's like the typical elderly gentleman who talks to everybody at the store. and then he leaves. 8:28, 8:29, he leaves. And Judge, so I've got the 2 videos of that alleged interaction if you want to see them. I don't want anybody to think anything's been taken out of anything, or, I mean, it's all on here, but what we did with this compilation is try to show both sides, back and forth. I don't want to take up the court's time needlessly, but we have those. We're ready to show them. Happy to show them if you'd like to see them. I don't know what the court, would you like to see the just those interactions?
I don't know that I need to. If you think it's important, I will.
No, I don't think it's important. All right, Judge. So moving on. So the other things that the evidence in this case, there's 2 alleged witnesses, the Walmart employee and Mr. Leyva. Mr. Leyva is mentioned on the warrant. Both of them, we've interviewed them. Both of them had said if they'd seen a kidnapping, an assault, an attempt, anything like that, they would have stepped in, that they were there, didn't see it. They all confirmed the Walmart was busy. There were lots of people around. The Walmart employee said that Mr. Patel was a friendly older gentleman, was very friendly with her, kind of gave her like a hug almost, like she was so happy when she finally helped him find the Tylenol. She said that she didn't know what was going on with Miss Miller, but she's not permitted to ask what her handicap is, but she said it was suspicious that she didn't scream, call 911, anything like that. And then Mr. Leyva, the gentleman in the orange shirt that you saw, again, he said that Mr. Patel lifted the child like the child's father, and that Miss Miller sort of pulled back the child. There was no tug of war. Mr. Leyva actually was mistaken and thought it was the younger child that all this was happening with. He was kind of confused, but the one thing he was sure about was that there was no attempted abduction, and had he seen anything like that, he was close enough that he would have stepped in and done something. He also told us that there were lots of people that witnessed the interaction. He speaks Spanish, so we had a Spanish interpreter interview him because there was definitely a language barrier with him, though. Mr. Patel talked to the police. He answered the police's questions. He told the police that he leaned in to pick the child up so that she could show him where the Tylenol is. He told them that.
Where was this?
At the police station when he was arrested. So he was arrested on March 21st. So before, they didn't talk to Mr. Patel. The police got the warrant for kidnapping. They arrested Mr. Patel on March 21st. They took him to the police department and interviewed him. When they interviewed him, and the state has not provided us a copy of this, but this is based on pleadings and Mr. Patel, what transpired there. He said that he did. I mean, he confirmed that he leaned in to pick the child up so that she could stand up and show him where the Tylenol was. At that point, he believes, as anyone would, that she's handicapped. And she's got 2 young children, which you can clearly see are just having some trouble with the cart. It's a reasonable thing. And if you think that there's a child that's falling or might fall and someone's trying to stand up to help you, the reasonable thing would be to help that person. The state in one of their pleadings pointed out that he did not tell the police specifically that he thought the child was falling, but nobody asked him that either. He also said that they didn't ask him if he told Miller immediately that he was trying to help her. But what he explained was that Miller didn't want his help. As soon as he realized that, he stopped, put his hands back in his pocket, and moved on. So we're talking a few seconds here, and he's trying to help. She says she doesn't want his help. He pulls back. You can see it, and you can see it on the video. And we know Mr. Patel cares for his 86-year-old elderly mother. We know why he's there. He's not there for a sinister purpose. Judge, I anticipate the state's probably going to focus a lot on Mr. Patel and his prior record. Mr. Patel has a conviction from a 2006 conspiracy. It's a Class E felony. For those that don't really practice in federal court, myself included, I had to call the federal defender to explain how it all worked to me. The Class E felony is sort of like our high and aggravated misdemeanor. It's a 1 to 5 type of offense. It's a conspiracy. He accepted responsibility for his role in a 2006. It was a white collar case. It's a conspiracy, and the allegations, I was able to get the transcript and get the indictment and get the plea recommendation and all of that. Mr. Patel and another gentleman who was one of his neighbors, Mr. Obleton, they essentially contacted a company and they were asking for rewards to get a contract for a school, public school system's IT system. So at the time, Mr. Patel was an engineer. And he entered into a sales agreement in early 2007, whereby he would get a 3.9% commission for if this company got the sales agreement, the IT agreement, to do the IT stuff for the school system. In March of 2008, he did receive a sales commission for this. And so those are the 3 overt acts for his role in the conspiracy. I wanted to make sure I knew that so that I could explain, the depth of it, because I assumed it would be a big deal to the state. Everything else was contributed to Mr. Obleton, but Mr. Patel helped the government convict Mr. Obleton. In exchange for that, he was granted leniency. He pled to the Class E felony. It's considered the least serious of all federal crimes. He paid all of the money back, not just the money that he gained. He actually paid Mr. Obleton's money back also, and the case was terminated early. So we would actually submit that shows that he is in compliance with court orders and helps with bond, because not only did he pay what he owed, but he paid what Mr. Obleton owed the government back. He reimbursed them in due course early, and his probation was early terminated. He has another case from 2020, a reckless driving conviction. In that case, he accepted responsibility for the reckless driving. He completed all of the conditions that the court asked him, and he actually did such a good job and did it so early that his probation was early terminated after just 6 months. He has a pending 2005 DUI less safe. It's a non-test case. It is, he was arrested, and I was able to pull the reports. He was arrested, and the probable cause was the odor of alcoholic beverages emanating from his breath and his bloodshot eyes. He was arrested, and he was released on bond. He is currently on that bond, and I'm not sure if the state will make a big deal out of that or not. Ms. Miller has a conviction for DUI. Mr. Patel does not. But again, he complied with that court order.
Oops. Okay. Notice how she slid that one in. Miss Miller has a conviction for DUI. Mr. Patel does not.
Early terminated, did a great job. I want to talk a little bit about the one thing I just want to point out before moving on, because I think it'll save us some time. The state had mentioned to us that they wanted some type of a protective order for the discovery. We've not been able to get discovery in this case. The case was indicted April 3rd. We opted in on April 7th. We have asked repeatedly to get the state's file. Mr. Merchant tried yesterday. He was supposed to go and review the open file, was denied access to that. They said they're copying it, so we should be getting it, but one of the issues was they want to make sure that we don't disseminate any witness information. We have not disseminated witness information, and we will not be disseminating witness information, although that information is already out in the news. And it's not surprising. There's quite a bit that's out there, that's public. Ms. Miller did quite a few press conferences early on in the case, press interviews, and obviously we have done that in response, but her information's out there. There's a lot of public police reports involving her that has her address. And so we are certainly not providing that to anybody. We will agree not to provide it to anybody. We already have it and haven't provided it to anybody. But I know the state's concern was over witness information. We haven't released it. We wouldn't release it.
This is my thing. She should have thought about that before she decided to tell a lie on somebody who, she should have thought about that.
But it's really not hard to find. There's over 20 police reports in the last 7 years involving Ms. Miller. It's not hard to find this information.
I don't know how that's relevant to
What? 20? Did she say 27?
the bond.
In the last 7 years. We haven't released it. We wouldn't release it, but it's really not hard to find. There's over 20 police reports in the last 7 years.
20 police reports? Baby, what are you involved in? 20? 20 police reports?
Involving Ms. Miller, it's not hard to find this
I
information.
don't know how that's relevant to the bond motion that we have today, Judge. So I would
It's relevant because your client, your complaining witness enjoys filing a police report or two. She's legit a Karen. Like, she's a Karen. 20 police reports? Baby, 10 police reports equals Karen. 20 police reports? Baby, that's a Karen for sure.
object to that.
It's relevant to the protective order.
I
I'm sorry, I
reject
was
that.
deviating for a moment just on the protective order, but I can save that and argue that separately.
All right.
Okay. So as far as bond, the last thing I wanted to point out to the court is my client's ties to the community. Judge, my client, he's got friends. He actually has friends here that he grew up with and went to high school with in India that have flown in for this bond hearing. They're here in this courtroom. We have over 100 people in court. We have over 150 downstairs. There's a lot more online. He's married. When he first came to this country, he went to school in Ohio. He got his master's in electrical engineering. His wife went to medical school in Ohio. They both graduated from Cleveland State, and they've been married for 31 years. They had their first daughter when they still lived in Ohio. They moved here. They've lived here in the Harrison High School District for 21 years. They own their home in West Cobb. They were zoned for Harrison, but both of his daughters went to the magnet school at Kennesaw Mountain. They both got full scholarships and graduated from Georgia Tech. They're both in graduate school currently. One is in medical school and one is in MBA school. He and his wife are now retired. They own property and they manage that property, quite a bit of property. He's the caregiver for his 86-year-old mother that lives with him. His wife is here. One of his daughters is here, the one who's in MBA school. The daughter that's in medical school was in the middle of finals and it's available on the Zoom. He is very active in his community, as I'm sure the court can recognize by the outpouring of people that are here to support him. He is active in the Kiwanis Club. He's a board member of the Lost Mountain Kiwanis Club. He is active at Read Across America and a program called Terrific Kid Program, where they actually go and read to children at North Cobb High School, children in need, children who have developmental disabilities, at Mount Perrin, and also at Due West Elementary. He's active at his temple in Cartersville, the Shareem Temple, and there's members of that community here in support as well. He has At this point, before, as of 9 a.m. this morning, 46,000 signatures on a petition supporting his release. There's been letters written in support of his release from the South Asian Bar Association, the Cobb County Democrats, the Cobb County Republicans, the Hindu American Foundation, local medical providers, and I could go on and on. I honestly can't keep up with all the people that have reached out in support. He has members of his family here, his wife, his daughter, uncles, aunts, cousins.
Hold on. You saw that guy who was back. Who was that? Oh, I know who that guy is. Remember the guy who was just sitting back there? He's got the man bun right here with the burgundy shirt. Remember, he testified about something. He testified. Remember when Ashley had Nate? I think he worked in Nate's office. Nate, I always forget his name. Fonnie's boyfriend. He was an intern in their office. Do you guys remember him? He had a big, thick man bun on top of his head. Do you know who I'm talking about? He was like a law student. He was getting ready to graduate, and he right here. I was like, who is that guy? And he testified to something. I wonder what I guess he's just there witnessing. Okay. I was like, who was that for a second? Okay. We're going to get back to business. Just a second. I wonder if I need a battery in my mouse. Okay. My mouse is not engaging. Hold on. Maybe I need a battery. Okay, guys, give me just a minute. My bad, Joe. It took me out. Hold on. I was stuck. I'm gonna go get a battery while this is playing. Okay. I'm back. Okay.
Elementary. He's active at his temple in Cartersville, the Shreem Temple, and there's members of that community here in support as well. He has, at this point, before, as of 9 a.m. this morning, 46,000 signatures on a petition supporting his release. There's been letters written in support of his release from the South Asian Bar Association, the Cobb County Democrats, the Cobb County Republicans, the Hindu American Foundation, local medical providers, and I could go on and on. I honestly can't keep up with all the people that have reached out in support. He has members of his family here, his wife, his daughter, uncles, aunts, cousins, friends, schoolmates, members of the community, his neighbors. His neighbors have contacted us multiple times and just can't believe that he's in jail. His house is the house where the bus stop is, and all the kids like to wait for the bus at his house. And so he's got neighbors here in support of him, just a lot of community support. So, Judge, we would ask that you release him on bond.
How old is he?
How old are you?
57 years.
57. I was going to say 56. I forgot. He had a birthday 2 weeks ago in the Cobb County Jail. So he is now 57 years old. He's been in the Cobb County Jail for 6 weeks without a bond. And we would just ask that you release him on bond, Judge. And if there's anything else you want to know about him.
In what amount?
$10,000, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Evans?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I always think it good to make a record about the legal standard for these type of issues. So I want to do that first. I know the court's well aware of it. Nonetheless, we do need to make a record. The burden of proof is on the defendant for when it comes to bond issues. That's Dunn versus Edwards, common spelling for both of those, 275 Georgia 458. The defendant must prove evidence as to each of the four Aiello factors. We haven't really heard about those 4 factors, so I'll give them to you now, Your Honor. I know you're aware of them. They're also codified statutorily in 17-16(1). They must prove that defendant poses no risk of flight, no significant danger to person, community, or property. The defendant poses no significant risk of committing a new crime, poses no significant risk of intimidating witnesses or obstructing justice. Of note, failure on any one of those factors would authorize the court to deny bond in this case.
It's giving he doesn't have anything else to talk about, so you're just going to make sure you're like, damn. Ashley Merchant once again bought the mother load of information, which, you know, no one should be surprised of that if you've ever seen her in action. You know what I'm saying? So let me just run with the rules because I can't really speak to the investigation because we hadn't done one yet.
I will point out the case out of Cobb County, Constantino versus Warren, Constantino, 285 Georgia 851. Defendant is not entitled to bond as a matter of right on felony offenses that are under 90 days before indictment. In this case, indicted within that 90-day period to alleviate any concerns about the bond. So I say all that to say to the court that defendant is not entitled to bond as a matter of right. As we sit here today, it's entirely discretionary for the court whether or not to grant a bond. And that is where we stand, is that it is within the court's discretion to grant a bond, but you are absolutely not required to grant a bond because we have moved expeditiously to make sure that the defendant was afforded his opportunity in court by indicting him in a timely fashion. I will note that the initial warrant was in the no bond stages, so there's been some chatter, allegations about the state's role in that. It was not the state that had anything to do with defendant's current no bond status. That was done at the magistrate court level by a magistrate judge that was passing on the sufficiency of the evidence in terms of looking at the warrant. I will tell the court, in reviewing this case legally under Garza and some of those things, we believe that kidnapping would be appropriate. Nonetheless, looking fully at the facts of this case, an attempted kidnapping certainly seems like a better charge, which is why we did have some urgency to get this case to the grand jury to make sure that we had the most accurate charge pleading in terms of the charging documents that we think is appropriate. Slight asportation is what's required for a kidnapping. I think the general public thinks about kidnapping and has this visual image of white vans snatching kids off the street, and the court knows, and state knows, the defense knows, legal experts know. That's not the legal definition of kidnapping. It's the slight asportation of a person against their will, and so the appropriate charge we deemed, and the grand jury agreed, is an attempted kidnapping. He's also charged with assault and battery as well for what happened. So you've heard a little bit about assertions of what defendant's connection is to the community and all of those kind of things in support of this. There's really not been a whole lot of testimony about the 4 IELA factors that I've articulated to the court. So I will tell you that the victim's mother is on this call. She's been in communication with the state. She's expressed to us her apprehension and trust in handling this case. She's been very deferential to the state. She is of the belief that defendant needs treatment. I too am of the belief that this defendant has got some serious issues, as we're about to talk about, and I want that to be a component of this discussion here. So because the defense has played one video, am I okay to sit down so I can use my laptop, Judge? Thank you. I want to show a zoomed in version of the clip. Yeah. And if you'll pay attention here, Judge. When you zoom in on it, you can actually see defendants grabbing this 2-year-old child, the child's 2 at the time, and tugging the child, seems to tug the child away from the mom. I'm going to show you a still version in a second too that actually shows the child's legs hanging over the lap of his mother as the mom tries to pull her child back to her lap. You can see he's kind of in her space. I know there's a narrated, edited version that was presented, by the defense, and sure, the state would say if you don't take a closer look, it might cause concerns. But when you do take a closer look, you can see him tugging on this child, and there's the legs, before mom is able to regain control of her 2-year-old and bring the 2-year-old back to her lap. So here's the actual, you can see the legs of the child dangling as Mr. Patel tries to pull the child away. Listen, Judge, is this an unusual case? I would say it is. The state's not oblivious to the fact that this is a very bizarre set of circumstances. Nonetheless, this defendant reached down and grabbed a 2-year-old child from the lap of a woman in a Walmart at 8:30 at night and attempted to pull that child from her lap. The facts are not governed by the state here. The facts are governed by the choices of this particular defendant on this particular night, this particular public Walmart, as he encroached on the space of this mother and her two children. I will tell you that there was an employee that told the police that the defendant also touched her and that he said something like he loved her. There is some evidence of apparent intoxication on the defendant's part, and looking at his criminal history, it's not terribly surprising because it would appear that intoxication and alcohol issues have been legally an issue for him in the past as well. The victim's mother, for your knowledge, is 26 years old. She was 5'3". She has 2 children. She was minding her own business at a Walmart when this defendant, 56, a convicted felon who served time in federal prison, get to that in just a second, who's out on bond on a pending case, 5'10", 240 pounds, made the choice that he's going to reach down and grab her child and try to pull that child off her lap. He was unsuccessful in doing so, which is why an attempted kidnapping is perhaps a better charge than the initially charged kidnapping, even though you can clearly see the slight asportation as is contemplated by the law. So this defendant grabs a 2-year-old child sitting on his mother's lap, and despite the release of somewhat edited, narrated, scripted, when you look at the zoomed in view, you can actually see the corroboration of what the mother has told the police, told the Walmart employees as well. She actually told the police, and it's corroborated by the video evidence, that she pulled the victim back to me and that she refused to let go of her child. I do want to talk a little bit about defendant's statement because he made a number of admissions that we really haven't talked about in this case. So he was interviewed by the police. It was admittedly a couple of days later. So the police issued a bolo, or be on the lookout, the day of, trying to identify him. And it was only through looking at some flock camera video and some video surveillance that they were finally able to piece together who this individual was. So it happened on the 18th of March, and he wasn't arrested until the 21st in a neighboring jurisdiction before he was transported to the police for his interview. So we can call that whatever you want. He certainly didn't stay on the scene, but when you talk about his admissions, I think they're telling as to where his mindset is into what he had done prior to his arrest. So though the statements are somewhat self-serving, he admitted that he grabbed the child. He admitted that he upset the mom. To quote him, he said, "She thought I was going to take her kid." I said, no. Then he said he saw her on the phone and he pleaded with her. I said, "Please, I'm not going to take your kid," before heading out of the store. He said, "I was holding the kid. I realized she didn't want me to." He admitted that he realized she was afraid that I was taking her kid. Defendant Patel was confronted by the police and said, "You're a stranger to this child, Mr. Patel. Why are you touching this child?" And he admitted thereafter that he had scared the mom and nonetheless left the Walmart anyway. At the tail end of his interview, he said that he wanted to apologize to her for what he had done. So there are some.
He said he scared her. Scared her how? Because she was getting ready to tip over in the cart, and he was trying to help her. It's really, it's the stuttering, and he might have a nervous stutter. He might just be, maybe he's nervous and that's why he's stuttering, or maybe he just stutters. But at the end of the day, I don't even know if he believes what he's saying right now. Nobody tried it. I think if the man wanted to take her kid, she was in a vulnerable position where if he wanted to run off with the kid, he could have. Let's just be real. Why would someone try to take a kid? You're going to take a kid or you're not going to take a kid. You're not going to take a kid, go run and say, "Let me go get some extra strength gel Tylenols," and then also stop back by and say, "Okay, I found my Tylenol." Like, that's just dumb. There are people who have kidnapped kids in Walmarts and they take the kids and they run it for the front door, or they run it to whatever their escape route is. This is just stupid.
Admissions that really go towards kind of the consciousness of guilt in that short clip that was just played for the court, that are somewhat, I mean, they corroborate what Mama said, that she was scared by a man that was trying to grab a 2-year-old child from her lap. And he admitted that his conduct had placed her in that apprehension as well. So we do have safety concerns because of all the media that has been generated by this case, largely because of things, candidly, that the defense has put out, which is why we filed the motion for the protective order. Our preference is not to try these types of cases in the media, but instead to have full, fair, transparent court hearings to deal with these things. The fact of the matter is that this mother was with her 2 kids minding her own business, and this man, Mr. Patel, made a decision to grab a 2-year-old child from her lap at night in a Walmart. Even the witness who was interviewed by the police on the next aisle said that he was essentially unnerved by what he had seen and wanted to share that with the police as well. There are 2 separate 911 calls, one placed by the victim's mother, one by a Walmart employee. Of course, you've now seen some of the video. I told you about the Be on the Lookout that was issued the night of, as they tried to identify who this stranger was to this woman who tried to grab her kid from her lap. And fortunately, thanks to our advances in technology, I'm sure the court's aware of it. Flock, for a purpose of our record, is a license plate.
And no offense to Mr. Patel, but you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, sir, we know that you have you've handled some business here, and you're an engineer, but you have been with the shits. Let's make no mistake. There's a reason why he crossed paths with Nesto. He's with the shits. He's a businessman. He was actually a real businessman, engineer, and he was trying to solicit kickbacks on some commissions. So we get it. You were trying to make a coin. Your wife is a doctor, and you didn't know you were going to have to pay for MBA in medical school, in your future. We get it, sir. Okay. So he got a felony for doing too much, then, maybe drinking too much. And then what else does he have a felony? Girl, Mr. Patel has been in trouble. Okay. But his community still backs him, and his medical doctor wife, and his soon to be medical doctor daughter, and his MBA daughter. I mean, they're supporting him, unlike Nesto, who has nobody. Okay. So Mr. Patel better watch out, though. That's all I'm going to say. People are looking out for you right now, and we see the Karenism going on. But, sir, you need to stay out of trouble.
Reader were able to identify.
I mean, did I say that right, Unicorn? Am I being too? If I were the judge, I would say, sir, you have been with the shits, okay? And everything I just said a few minutes ago, I don't want to see you in my courtroom again. And when you do come back, we need, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go ahead and squash this particular situation. But at the end of the day, I don't want to see you back in my courtroom again, sir. You've got a lovely wife, 2 daughters, and a community that is rooting for you. Stay out of my courtroom.
Defendant realize, well,
Okay.
This is a man with a criminal history who's out on bond for a DUI that's pending in state court, and that's what prompted police to be able to go locate him, pick him up, bring him in for the interview.
Well, I'm glad Karen did an interview, though, Real VB. I'm glad she did, so we could see who she was, girl. Hold on a second. Let's see. Girl, I snapped her picture. Hold on. Hold up. Caroline, boo-boo. You better stop it, sis. You better stop playing, sis. Okay, I heard you are 27 years old and you have filled out 20 police reports. Baby, I don't even know how many police reports my name has ever been on. I've been in like 3 car accidents my whole life. Maybe 3. Speeding a few times. I can count. Maybe I've called the police once or twice for a reason or two in my lifetime. And I'm 54. Okay. I'm 54. Okay. Maybe I've called the police twice. Okay. And one time it was because I needed the ambulance to come for me when I was in my 20s, living in an apartment by myself. My friends were on the way, but girl, I thought I was having a damn heart attack. Anyway, girl. Yes, can you believe her she's 27 or 26? They say she's called There's 20 police reports with her name on it. She better stop playing before she ends up content. I mean, sis already is content. Let's face it. Sis has become content. So, all right, let's finish this up because we got to get over to Mr. Rodney Hinton. Okay. Let's get back over here. Bye, Caroline.
Where he made these admissions that I've articulated to the court about his conduct and about what he did. There is evidence to support that he probably was intoxicated at the time. The delay in getting to him, though.
There's no evidence.
The clerk is looking like I wore my bust down, bone straight, pressed out good wig today because I knew all the police and Ashley Merchant and the film crews were going to be here. And I did my eyeshadow.
Sure. The description by witnesses suggests that there's something going on with him, that he may have been intoxicated, and certainly his criminal history, as I'm about to present that to the court, would show that there is a history of problems with alcohol use. Based on the Walmart witness and what the victim described, we certainly have reason to believe that he may have been intoxicated at the time.
Really?
Of course, he didn't
What's
stay at the
going
Walmart,
on,
so we weren't able to
sis?
get a blood draw or anything.
Close out you know what? Sometimes YouTube does have a glitch. Close your app completely, like swipe it up. And shall I even entertain, shutting down your phone and restarting it? But completely close your app and come back.
Anything like that. All right, so I do want to talk about criminal history.
Oh my God, you're gonna give me something?
I'm sure you can have a copy.
Oh, you wanted me to just read it right now? I mean, I need a copy. He seems a bit frazzled. Ashley Merchant comes to the courtroom and she make folk nervous. Okay.
And this is the motion of state court. Actually, I need that one because it's highlighted. You can have this one.
The same thing.
Yeah, same thing. Thank you. So, Your Honor, I'm going to provide to the court a copy of the criminal history and then a motion filed in the state court regarding the pending case that's over there as well. What you'll see on the criminal history is that
This had her good wig on today.
convicted of
Okay.
conspiracy to defraud the United States. He was arrested for bribery as part of that arrest as well. That was not what he was convicted of, though. It was conspiracy to defraud the United States. And while
Look, you guys are down, I mean, no offense, but I mean, it's Scamlanta. Okay. It's some scammery going on. Okay. He was just trying to make some coin. He's got a wife who's a doctor and he's probably trying to keep up with her coin.
assertions have been made about the level of this, I will point out that defendant did serve federal prison time. I have not run a criminal history of everyone in the courtroom, but I'm aware of only one person that served federal prison time as a convicted felon in the.
Oh, now it's like, okay, because Ashley said there's only one person who has a felony conviction for drinking or whatever, and it was Carolyn. So it's like, it's the pissing contest of the criminal backgrounds. Okay.
The courtroom, and that would be Mr. Patel. He admittedly served 6 months in prison, received it looks like a 42-month sentence. He was on probation for a number of years for this felony offense that he's been convicted of. He did have a DUI that he was convicted of, a lesser included offense, reckless, that's February 7th, 2022, highlighted that for the court. I pointed out the defendant has a third arrest now pending by Kennesaw Police Department. That was December 6th of 2024. So that case is actively in the pipeline at the time defendant commits this offense at the Walmart. There are conditions of that bond that are actually attached to the solicitor's motion to revoke that bond. So that's the other document that I've handed to the court, is a motion to revoke defendant's bond in state court based on this new arrest. If you look at those bond conditions from January 28th of 2025, among other things, shall not violate the laws, shall not drink alcohol or use drugs. And we've talked a little bit about that as part of the state's presentation of the case. So that was filed, the motion to revoke bond, I believe, April the 28th. So here, while the defendant was on bond, he committed a new crime on March the 18th. And fortunately, because of our ability to leverage Flock and technology were able to identify who this was, who this stranger was, who grabbed a 2-year-old child at night in a Walmart, and that led to his arrest and ultimately to his statement and admissions that he made on or about March the 21st of 2025. So this is his 4th arrest. Okay, fourth arrest, Your Honor. The 4th being while he was already on bond in a pending case here in Cobb County, Georgia. And so legally, this court is not required to give a bond. The state's of the opinion he's not a good candidate for bond based on the history that we have here. I would suggest to the court that if you're inclined to grant a bond, even though you're not required to, that we be heard about some specific conditions of that bond. But it is concerning from the state's perspective that you have a man who's a convicted felon on his 4th arrest, one while on bond here in Cobb County, Georgia, who made admissions to his conduct here. And in light of that, we would suggest to the court, not a good candidate for bond at this point. We're open to having discussions with the defense about perhaps some reasonable resolution of the case when it's appropriate after going through the discovery process. But at this point, you're not required to give the court give the defendant a bond. And so we would urge the court to consider all of these things when you weigh your decision. And we would like to be heard if you exercise your discretion, say, well, I'm going to give a bond in this case for some reason, then we'd like to be heard on what conditions of that bond would be appropriate in light of the unique circumstances of this particular case.
Understood.
Thank you. Judge, I just want to respond to some of the specific things that the state brought up. They said this is his 4th arrest. We told you about all of the other ones. We told you about exactly what happened in those other cases. And the one thing that I really want to, really the 2 things that I want to talk about are the state's theory that this is an apparent intoxication, but they didn't tell you one single person who said they thought Mr. Patel was drunk or that they smelled alcohol. Not one single person. They said it was because of his actions and his behavior. You saw the video. I mean, you saw the video. There were people talking to him. He talked to 4 different Walmart employees this close to him. I think maybe because he has a DUI that was dropped down to a reckless driving and a DUI arrest, maybe that's where they got this from. But there's absolutely no evidence of that here, none whatsoever. So I don't know what conditions they're talking about, but there's no evidence of that here at all. And there's plenty of people that they could have talked to about smelling an odor of alcohol or something like that, bloodshot eyes, whatever. The state did comment, though, on 2 things. They commented on my client's statement, which we have not seen, but what it sounds like is it corroborates exactly what I've told you, what Mr. Patel has told you, corroborates exactly. And that's why we filed a demurrer, because he can admit to these facts and still not be guilty of a crime. So that's why we filed a demurrer in this case that we think will ultimately be successful. The other thing I wanted to just touch on, we have not seen any of the state's file. We were expecting something significant today, and there's nothing. The state got this GCIC on March 31st. This is the first we've ever seen it. Luckily, my clients told me about all of these and I was able to investigate all of them. But we have been trying to get a consent bond since March 27th in this case. We have been trying to see and access the state's file and they will not allow us to. This is, now all of a sudden throwing things out, which we haven't been able to see. But the big issue is the state commented on Ms. Miller's credibility. They said that she's a young mother, 27, short, whatever, and that it's very reasonable for her to be scared. So because the state commented on her credibility, I wanted to just... I
would object. I don't think that was a comment on credibility. Those were statistics about her age, height, weight, those types of things. So I don't agree with that recitation. I think that's facts, not in evidence before the court in terms of the bond hearing.
Response.
Judge, the rules of evidence don't apply at bond hearing, first of all, and the state did comment on her credibility. They specifically talked about her being a young mother and that it was reasonable for her to be scared in the situation of my client. They talked several times about how, his interaction with her and how he interacted with her should have scared her. So I think it's entirely relevant. They also mentioned that she's, as far as the bond factors, they mentioned something about, direct quote, something about being concerned if he gets out on bond. Oh, the mother is on call and expressed apprehension of my client. So I think it's relevant a little bit, just a little bit. I mean, trust me, I'm not going to go through all 20 reports, but a little bit relevant to talk about her alleged apprehension.
It might be relevant, but I don't believe it necessary.
Okay, great. Well then, thank you, Judge. So Judge, I do think that we have satisfied the ILF factors. We have shown that he is not a threat to the community, not a flight risk. Look at all the people here. I mean, he's definitely not a flight risk. We've tried to show you that. He's got significant ties to the community, significant property in the community, and he's just not a risk. So we just ask that you grant him bond. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Well, first of all, let me just comment on the amount of media attention and internet attention, social media. It's always been part of my duty anytime I have a case similar to this that I do not watch local news. If I'm in the Marietta Daily Journal and I see anything that leads me to believe this might be my case, I don't read it. I don't look at anything on social media. But I must say that it's impossible to not see that it's out there, and it's been very difficult to not look at anything, but I've done my very best. So I feel like I'm going into this on an even keel with the state and the defense. I'm going to grant this man a bond. He's entitled to a bond based upon even the allegations of the state. His history here, he owns property, you said, in the Harrison district. He's educated, he's retired, manages properties, plural, apparently. He's married. He's in the Kiwanis Club. I mean, if he's got all that he needs to show me that he's a member of our community and that he has ties to the community. I don't blame the state from pointing out, and you did it yourself, Ms. Merchant, that he has some convictions. He doesn't have any type of conviction that bothers me in terms of any type of violent behavior or anything of that nature. I don't see any arrest, haven't heard any evidence of any arrests for any type of sexual, certainly child sexual type arrests. I'm not worried about that. I don't believe he poses a risk to the community. The evidence from the video, and I won't comment on what I think the video really shows as far as guilt or innocence. It's not my job today. But the facts do show me that he hung around, and I don't find that he's a flight risk based upon what I saw in the video and what was just, I'll receive it as a proffer from counsel about him hanging around. I'm not concerned that the police didn't get him the same day because he's presumed innocent, and innocent people don't worry about the police coming to get him. So that didn't bother me. I'll grant a $10,000 bond. That was the number you gave me.
Thank you, Judge.
I don't have any problem with it. He can make it any way he wants. It doesn't have to be a cash bond. As far as conditions, let me hear from you, Mr. Evans, as to any special conditions that, I mean, I would always put in there, no drugs and alcohol, not because of the allegations that you've made, but that's every bond I do. And although I'm not a magistrate, I don't grant that many bonds because of reasons you know about. No drugs and alcohol, no contact with the alleged victim or any member of her family. What else do you want?
You've nailed almost all of them, Judge. No contact with the victim, the family, that Walmart in particular, I would say.
Don't go to that Walmart.
Sure. Drug, alcohol evaluation, treatment, and screens. So
I don't have enough to make me do that.
Okay.
If you know, if he picks up another problem with alcohol, then he probably will be back where he is right now. I mean,
Sure.
so.
And then the follow up to that, I think you've already articulated no alcohol or drugs that are not lawfully prescribed to him.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Do you object to any of those conditions?
No, Judge, not at all. I'm not sure, this wasn't mentioned, but I just wanted to bring it up in advance. He has a trip in August that's already been paid for. We just want to make sure that he can go on that trip because it was a trip that was originally bought and paid for, and then his father died and it had to be moved. And it's with both of his children, extended family. It's an international trip. And so that is very significant to him
Well,
in August.
he's on probation right now?
No,
He's not on probation right now. You know, I got people in front of me that live in New York, and, you know, they certainly can go to New York.
Thank you.
And if I thought he was a risk, I wouldn't let him out of jail.
Thank you, Judge.
If you want me to put something in writing, then I'm happy to.
And I appreciate that. I don't think it'll be an issue with that. Thank you.
All right. Then why don't we do this? Madam Clerk, if you'll get the standard order, work with counsel.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Both of them to look at it. Mr. Evans can consent as to form only, and then bring it back to me in chamber so that I can review it. And then I will come back in the courtroom and go over them and get the man's signature, and that'll take care of it.
Girl. Okay, Madam Clerk, I'm sorry. Her hair was laid. I had to mention that like 3, 4, 5 times because sis was laid. Okay. A mess. Karen, unfortunately, Karen rides again. Karen, find something to do, sis. I mean, come on now, Karen. Stop. Leave people alone. You are too young. You got 2 little kids. I think that she was dawdling in Walmart and her dad or whomever was out there waiting for her. She said her dad, and she had to make up a story because he was like, "What's taking you so damn long? Why am I out here waiting?" Okay. So maybe that's what it was. Who knows? I'm making up story now, but girl. Okay. Let's move on. I'm not going to hold y'all too much longer. Let's get into this. You guys heard this story, Rodney Hinton. This is very sad. This is bad. Where do we start? I guess we'll start I have a bunch, but let's just take a look at I felt like this was really good. Ooh. Y'all, we've been together all day. Give me just a second. Okay. I guess right here. I guess we're going to go over to law and crime. Hold on.
With this deputy right here, okay?
That's Rodney Hinton Jr. on his way to court to answer to charges that he ran his car into a sheriff's deputy hours after meeting with police to view body camera footage of an officer shooting his son a day earlier. What does the body-worn camera video reveal? I take a look at the new footage just released. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Body camera footage of Rodney Hinton Jr. has just been released. It shows him in the hours after he's accused of intentionally hitting and killing a sheriff's deputy in his car in Cincinnati. Hinton is charged with aggravated murder in the death of Deputy Larry Henderson. Aggravated murder is the most serious murder charge a person can face in the state of Ohio, and it's possible that prosecutors could pursue the death penalty against Rodney Hinton. Police say Hinton intentionally drove his car into Deputy Henderson in Cincinnati on Friday, May 2nd, just outside of the University of Cincinnati. Henderson was a retired sheriff's deputy who was working a detail directing traffic for the university's graduation ceremony when police said Hinton drove into him as Henderson stood on the sidewalk wearing his uniform and a bright vest. Police in Cincinnati say a short time before this happened, Rodney Hinton Jr. left a meeting with Cincinnati police where the chief and other city officials had shown him and his family body camera video of his son, 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, being shot by a police officer the day before.
This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene.
We stopped that video right before the shots were fired. The police chief said Ryan Hinton was in a stolen vehicle that had been stopped by police, and he ran with a gun in his hand.
This is the firearm that was recovered at the scene after the individual was shot. This is what he had in his hand while the officers were chasing him.
After viewing the footage, police say Rodney Hinton Jr. was understandably upset. He left the meeting, and more than an hour later, the call came in that Deputy Henderson had been hit by a car near the University of Cincinnati. Henderson worked for the sheriff's office, not the police department. After being taken to the hospital to be checked out, Rodney Hinton was taken to the police department to be interviewed by Cincinnati police detectives who would investigate Deputy Henderson's death. Then it was time for him to be taken to jail after being charged with aggravated murder.
We're going to get you where you're going, okay?
Can you stand up for me, sir? I'll put this around your waist. Are you able to stand on your own?
Try. Locked up here.
Here, use this hand to hold you. I'm gonna put this hand in a cuff.
The world can be a really unpredictable and scary place, and that's where our great partner Morgan & Morgan comes in. So if you're ever hurt, you can easily work to transfer him to the deputies from the neighboring agency.
I'm gonna put this hand in a cuff. All right, I'm gonna put this other hand in a cuff. I'm gonna double lock him, okay?
They gave him no time to be in the hospital. So I don't know if he went into a telephone pole when he killed the police officer. I don't know if he went into some sort of a wall or a phone pole. But you know, finding out your kid was killed in a police altercation, then you go see the video. I'm going to just go on a limb and say some sort of a snap, some sort of mental break. You know, he left outer body experience, gets in his car, mows over the police officer. Clearly he was banged up too, but he's not getting 1 second. Remember when Darnell, I mean, damn, I guess because Darnell got shot 3-4 times, Darnell Jones, but damn, Rodney's not getting 1 minute, 24 hours in the hospital bed. They're getting him right up with his clothes on. So this happened on 5/2. This was 6 days ago. Okay.
I got a double on your ankles as well, so.
Oh my God. Why don't they give him a wheelchair? Put him in a wheelchair.
You're fine.
Okay, we're gonna see all that. Okay, good. I'm saying put him in a wheelchair like they can hear me. I'm going to be honest. He may not want to live. That would be the defense. I would be like, he was trying to commit suicide. You know what I mean? He was trying to take himself out. He didn't want to live anymore after he heard about his son. He didn't want to live anymore. And unfortunately, the police officer was, you know, it wasn't intentional type thing. I don't know. He might just clearly he might have wanted death by cop. You know what I mean? I could imagine. I could only guess how someone would feel in that type of situation, because clearly he didn't care whether he lived or not anymore when he went, you know, when he jumped in that car. Reckless driving, you know. Well, if I was his defense lawyer, that would be my he had left his body, his mind left his body, and he was in another world. He was trying to take himself out. Girl, that's a father losing their son, baby. A mother losing their son, daughter, whatever. Losing your kid, baby. Come on. Now I feel sorry for the innocent cop who was just out there doing his job, who didn't see it coming. It's very sad, and prayers to their family too, because the man was retired. He was just out there for the graduation. The poor kids graduating after all those years, getting their degrees, everybody graduating, and have such a horrible accident happen on the campus that day. It's a lot. The city of Cincinnati must be devastated. Cincinnati, we are sending you condolences, because it's just sad all the way around. The whole city is bad. That's something that really affected the whole city.
That's the mouth at the bottom. I grab this right.
Yeah.
They would have had a much easier time getting him a wheelchair.
The deputies then load Hinton into the van for the trip to the jail in that neighboring county. It's Claremont County.
All right, the easiest way is just turn around and slide in.
To face me and then sit down and slide.
Now swing your leg around. Need help?
Less than an hour later, Rodney Hinton arrives at the jail.
You want to hold yourself up there?
I'm going to ask you some questions, all right? You have a serious medical or mental health issue that needs immediate attention? Is that a yes or a no? Have you recently considered attempted suicide? No. You want to hurt yourself or anybody else? No. Currently taking an addictive substance?
Yes to both of them.
Heavy radiation?
Yes, I just tried to do that, and I just did. Yes, I tried to do it because, and while I was doing it, I hit somebody and I killed. Yeah, you know that. Like, come on.
You have anything on you that'll cut us or stick us? You have anything on you at all? Okay. We're gonna pat you down real quick.
They need to put him in the turtle suit.
No. What all you got going on? I see you got the hospital gown. You're in Claremont County, but in Batavia. You ever lift this foot up so I can feel the bottom of your foot? And your right foot? Okay. We're gonna escort you over to the county. You having trouble walking? Good. We're going to start taking these restraints off of you. I'll have you put your hands up on the counter, okay?
I need you to lift your left foot up a little bit so I can get this shackle off you.
All right. Right.
Drag one on this side.
Let's place that hand up there.
Here, leave his hands still for a second. Hands up, please.
Yeah.
The next morning, Saturday, May 3rd, deputies took Rodney Hinton to court to answer to the aggravated murder charge.
Yeah.
Do your hands for me?
All right. Go back this way, sir.
I got one.
Turn around to the back of the van for me, please. You have to watch step getting up there and keep your head down so that you know I'm on the top of it. Yeah, okay. And I'll seatbelt you in once we get you in. Just take your time. I got your backing for balance. I got your back. Watch your head. You have a seat there for me?
What's up, What's up?
Good? So, do me a favor, just turn your head to the right. Turn your head, I'm sorry, to your left. Lift your hand. All right, you good?
The deputies make the 40-minute or so drive to the courthouse for the arraignment.
Not done?
You guys know I'm live. Just a minute.
Ready? Watch your head. Watch your head. Okay, ready? Step down slow. Stay with this deputy right here, okay?
Step forward a little bit. You gonna shut the door? Good.
Inside the courtroom, a wall of deputies, colleagues of Larry Henderson's, lined the
They're giving us all the behind the scenes on this one.
courtroom. As Hinton was led out of court, he muttered something to the deputies that sounds like going to be gone forever. It is clear Hinton was saying gone forever, but what exactly he was saying isn't clear. The FOP president for Cincinnati Police was told that Hinton said the deputy was going to be gone forever as he was looking at those deputies. He was then driven back to the Claremont County Jail.
Your chest? You need? All right. Take a moment, stretch out. Let me grab this round. Take a moment, stretch out. Watch your head, watch your head. All of the shoulders, you got it. Ready? Take your time, take your time. Ready? Yep. You all right? One more. There you go. Take a moment, stretch.
Rodney Hinton Jr. then appeared in court this week since his arraignment was continued, and the hearing was disrupted when his brother tried to speak with him.
Thank you. Is there a case that's going to be called?
Your Honor, Rodney Hinton.
Thank you. Mr.
He got that courtroom packed out.
At the prior hearing before today.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Sir. Sit down.
Then a detective testified about what he says Hinton did last Friday when he drove into Deputy Henderson.
Tell me what he did after he stopped.
So based on witness statements as well as the video, the vehicle accelerated quickly, proceeded eastbound, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic when there was no longer traffic to obstruct his travel, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic, went to the left of those little stanchions that are in the middle of the roadway, into the oncoming lanes, through the intersection, directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing, struck Deputy Henderson and the metal utility pole on the northeast corner of the intersection.
Okay. Were there any evidence of skid marks?
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to brake, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson.
And is that the conclusion that our accident reconstructionists have come to at this point?
At this time, yes.
Okay. And does it appear from your review of the video that he headed straight for Deputy Henderson?
Yes.
And did any of the multiple witnesses that you spoke to and the people that were in the vehicles that were surrounding him, the people that were on scene, did anyone indicate that any attempt to slow down or deviate his path straight to Deputy Henderson?
No, everybody said that he accelerated and was traveling at a high rate of speed all the way up until the time that he struck Deputy Henderson.
Hinton's attorney argued that he should get bail, saying he may have mental health problems.
Judge, one of the factors with respect to the Ohio Revised Code in detaining a person with no bond is his mental condition. That has to be explored. His mental condition. What was his mental condition at the time he committed this offense? It's stated in the statute. It's 2937.22. I believe it's C3, the character, physical, and mental condition of the defendant or the accused. That's at issue.
I believe that the witness indicated that his opinion was that the act was intentional.
Right. And in making that opinion about whether or not it's intentional, you need to know the mindset or the mens rea of the person that.
Okay, I like the attitude. Okay. He's advocating for his client. He's like, and you have to know. I mean, look at the girl's face, like, oh my goodness.
The claim intended to do this. Was he in his right mind? That's relevant with respect to your bond determination.
I'll sustain the objection.
Rodney Hinton is currently being held without bail. His case will be presented to the grand jury. Hamilton County Prosecutor Connie Pillich has indicated she will likely pursue the death penalty. Larry Henderson had retired in December from the sheriff's office, where he had worked for many, many years.
He was a 33-year career deputy for our department. He retired approximately 5 months ago, and he continued to serve under oath. And he was directing traffic that day at what would have been a very, very joyous occasion for the University of Cincinnati graduates. Unfortunately, you know what unfolded, and we have lost Larry. Larry has been a deputy who has been so extraordinary. We've retired his badge number. Badge number 129 will be retired. Larry touched so many lives in this organization because he was a trainer, because he worked in so many specialized units. And Larry was very animate about the fact that he stay on the front line. He did not wish to take exams to be promoted because Larry's service was on that front line. And I have to tell you, that is bravery extraordinaire. When deputies decide that they want to be out there facing every day to day, that's a sacrifice, and it's a sacrifice for his family, and they have made the ultimate sacrifice.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.
Okay, so hold on one second. Let me find the right video. So that gave us like a big behind the scenes look at what was going on. Oh, thank you, dear. Can you do that for me? What were the ones that I was watching earlier? Oh my God, Lambo and your niece are like, oh my God. Okay.
Today, a homicide detective shared a new detailed timeline of Rodney
This is
Hinton.
what I want to say too. So yes, they're going to seek the death penalty against Rodney Hinton Jr. For the murder of the deputy, which, you know, it's horrible because no one should have to die like that. Being run over by a car or however the whole thing occurred is horrible. Now his son, Ryan, was killed by a police officer. So it's like the poor family, the Hinton family, who I'm sure would have expected Ryan to be doing other things than to be running out of a stolen vehicle. It was four young guys in a stolen vehicle, and the police, you know, get them. They are trying to make a traffic stop in this stolen vehicle. The four boys jump out and start running. So they're dealing with this situation of this young man, 18 years old, shot and killed by a police officer, and then dad snaps the next day and takes out a deputy. It's horrible, but I can't imagine on the Hinton family, the siblings of Ryan, the grandfather who lost his grandson now his son is also in jail. This is a nightmare for the family. This is a nightmare for the family that they're going to have to deal with two very terrible situations. The killing of a young boy, 18, by a police officer, which hopefully that'll get the proper investigation and all of the things. And the now potential prosecution of the father, Rodney Jr. It's very bad.
Jr.'s alleged actions before crashing into Deputy Henderson. WCPO 9 News reporter Jay Shakur walks us through it.
Here's what we know right now about Rodney Hinton Jr.'s movements on Friday. A Cincinnati police detective said on May 2nd, shortly after 9:30 that morning, Rodney Hinton Jr., along with family, viewed body camera footage of a Cincinnati police officer shooting and killing his 18-year-old son, Ryan Hinton, the day before. Police say officers found Ryan and 3 other young men in a stolen Kia. When police arrived, the 4 men ran. Police ran after them.
And officers say Ryan had a gun and it was pointed toward an officer who shot him twice, killing him.
The footage, which is a bit blurry at times, shows the shooting and Ryan falling to the ground. Police then say after reviewing that body cam video shortly after 10:30 a.m., Rodney leaves Cincinnati Police's Criminal Investigation Sections Unit's parking lot. Police say he left this first time upset and unable to drive. Family members describe him as agitated. Witnesses tell police he went to a couple of different locations, then returned to the parking lot around 12:40 p.m. They say Hinton came back to pick up a car left behind, and then for a second time,
He actually left the parking lot, followed by some family members, and then a few minutes later returned to the parking lot at CIS, drove through the parking lot, and then left the parking lot again.
Now, authorities say that final X occurred at 12:49 p.m. Just 11 minutes later, police say Hinton plowed right into Henderson, who was operating a traffic light at the intersection of Martin Luther King Drive and Burnett Woods. A detective on this case claims video footage shows Hinton first stopping in a left turn lane before increasing the car's speed.
The vehicle accelerated quickly directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing.
Cincinnati police have not yet identified that officer who shot and killed Hinton's son. Prosecutors say they believe that Rodney Hinton Jr. just, quote, ran over the first officer he saw. Jay Shakur, WCPO 9 News.
Okay. I wonder why it didn't. Oh, maybe I don't have it on auto. Hold on. Oh, I was about to say, can you guys hear me? Okay. 1 second, guys. I just didn't have everything all lined up like I was supposed to. Was this the one I was watching that I thought was good? Yes. Okay, this is the one I
Asked
really
to be
wanted to
released
watch.
on bail.
Okay.
I lay out the horrific chain of events out of Ohio and where the case could be heading.
Are you familiar with
After this, I'll pull the not today, but I'll pull it like for next time we meet up if you guys want to hear the full warrants and stuff. But yeah.
acts of someone that is not in their
We'll
right
see more of
mind
the
when they commit a criminal
family
act?
here.
I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Before I get into this case out of Ohio, I want to talk a little bit about true crime news and law and crime merch. The Law and Crime Docket is your one-stop shop for trending stories, thrilling body cams, and an exclusive graduation. Well, police say Rodney Hinton Jr. did this on purpose, possibly to avenge the death of his son, Ryan Hinton. Ryan Hinton was 18 years old, and a day earlier, a Cincinnati police officer shot and killed him after encountering him and some others in a car that had been reported stolen out of Kentucky. Here's the police chief.
Officers across the country confront dangerous situations every day, sometimes more than once a day. They are often compelled to make split-second decisions to protect others and themselves when faced with immediate threats. Yesterday was one of those occurrences. Let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. When this happens, the outcome is almost always tragic. No one wins, and everyone involved is affected.
Police Chief Teresa Thigi outlined what occurred. It's something the Cincinnati Police Department does within 24 hours of an officer-involved shooting taking place.
Where the incident occurred is at the dead end of the parking lot back here. You'll see vehicles there now. You'll see a photo. The stolen car that we're going to talk about was backed into a parking spot back there. As you can see, this is a stolen Kia. It was stolen out of northern Kentucky yesterday. You can see we have 2 uniformed cars there. Prior to those uniformed cars arriving, we had 2 undercover cars that pulled into that dead end, saw the vehicle, They backed out. They saw that there were individuals inside the vehicle, so they backed out and let the uniform cars make the approach, which is the tactically sound decision to do. The cars are positioned the way the officers are trained. We are trained to use our vehicles as cover from any threat. That's what those officers did with the cars at that time.
Chief Bougie then played a short portion of the body camera footage.
This is body-worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
He's got a gun on your right,
This is the body camera footage from the officer who actually shot Ryan Hinton.
This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene. This is the firearm that was recovered at the scene after the individual was shot. This is what he had in his hand while the officers were chasing him. It's just a photo of it here at Criminalistics. Remember I told you he fell on the concrete and the officers said that they heard the metal hit the ground? There are 3 spots on here where this gun has scratches on it. We believe those occurred when he hit the ground with the firearm. This is a second. Sorry, Bobby, can you go back 1 frame, please? This magazine was in the firearm. That's an extended magazine, so it holds more rounds. Go ahead. This is a second magazine that was located in his sweatshirt pocket, his jacket pocket. And that is the magazine from that second magazine. This is another firearm that was located inside the stolen vehicle. This is a firearm that was also stolen out of northern Kentucky sometime yesterday, early yesterday morning. Approximately, we believe, based on timelines, this was stolen from a vehicle in northern Kentucky, and then they went on to steal the vehicle that's involved in the incident.
I want to tell you about a free app that I've tried. It's called Upside. It gives you cash back on things that you use each day, like gas, groceries, and takeout. You can transfer the cash you get back straight into your bank account. When I pump gas or I go to Dunkin' for a cup of tea, I use Upside. I've even used it when I order pizza.
I know Anjanette Levy did not have herself being filmed getting some gas.
Year-old Ryan Hinton was revealed in a press conference after the police chief and others met with Ryan Hinton's family, including his father, Rodney Hinton Jr.
On Friday morning, we met with the police chief of Cincinnati, and we viewed the body cam video of what happened with the police-involved shooting with Ryan. We stayed at the chief's office for about an hour and a half, and what we saw was disturbing. The family was upset, as you can imagine, watching your son, watching your grandson, watching your loved one getting shot and killed by the police was upsetting to this family. We left out of the police chief's office, and a few hours later, I was made aware that Rodney had an incident with a police officer that resulted in the officer's death. But again, we are here because we represent the estate and the police-involved shooting.
Rodney Hinton left the meeting with the police chief, and sometime after that is when police say he intentionally drove his vehicle into Deputy Larry Henderson. A probable cause affidavit states a Hamilton County Sheriff's Office deputy was standing on the sidewalk at the corner of the intersection outside of the lanes of travel where he was engaged in traffic control. The deputy was wearing a uniform and a fluorescent traffic vest. Based on witness statements and evidence at the scene, the defendant drove across oncoming lanes of traffic through the intersection and directly at the deputy, who was struck by the vehicle, causing injuries to the deputy. That intersection near the University of Cincinnati's campus has flowers and blue ribbons decorated in memory and in honor of Larry Henderson, a man who was simply working a detail directing traffic for the University of Cincinnati's graduation. He worked at a different agency, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, than the police officer who shot Ryan Hinton. Larry Henderson had absolutely nothing to do with what happened to Ryan Hinton. On Monday, Ryan Hinton's family stood with their lawyers, distancing themselves from what Ryan's father is accused of doing, intentionally murdering Deputy Henderson.
We're here because we represent the estate of Ryan. We're not here to talk about the incident that occurred with the police officer. We do offer our condolences to the officer and his family. But we were hired to represent this family to investigate the police-involved shooting of their son, Ryan. This family is very upset about what occurred. We believe that that this incident should be investigated. It's not as cut and dry as this officer should have just pulled out his gun and shot at Ryan. It's not that cut and dry. So that's why we're doing the records request. We're going to analyze frame by frame each one of these videos to determine why the officer made that deadly decision to shoot and kill Ryan.
Ryan Hinton's grandfather, the father of Rodney Hinton, also spoke.
I want to give a condolence out to the officers that got hurt, got killed, my whole family. I'm asking for forgiveness, and I've been praying hard for the officer that killed my grandson. I've been praying hard for him and his family. I know he's hurting off this. And I seen in the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being in, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too. So that's what I seen. So it's not about revenge or anything. I had nothing against nobody. My Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I represent him. So with that said, please, everybody, just try to forgive everybody who done anything to anybody.
Rodney Hinton Jr. appeared in court over the weekend following his arrest on an aggravated murder charge. A wall of Larry Henderson's colleagues surrounded him. Hinton muttered something about,
I'm gonna be honest, the sheriff's department did not seem like they're on that type of time right now. I think it's beautiful that the family is showing love, but the police department they didn't look like they were ready. They seemed like there were some kind people when he was being processed, some of the police officers doing their jobs and being kind, and other than that, I don't know if they're on that. I don't know if they're ready yet to. I just think it's going to be a lot. It's going to be too much, and people just need to focus on handling the tasks at hand for right now.
being gone forever.
Yeah, Rodney
Hinton
is
was moved
not.
to a jail in a neighboring county. He was back in court asking for bail, and things got heated in the gallery when his brother attempted to contact him by knocking on the courtroom glass.
Can I have a seat? Can I have a seat? Have a seat, sir. Sit down.
Look how quick the police officers stood up. Look how quick they were like, come on now. I think we're gonna see that. Are we gonna see that? We're gonna cut to that in a minute. It became all about the brother. The brother came up there, wanted to see his brother, obviously, and it got very much heated outside the courtroom, but he wanted to show his support. He was happy about that look.
Rodney Hinton was rushed out of the courtroom as his brother was escorted out of the gallery. Shortly thereafter, court resumed, with Hinton's lawyer asking for bail for him and entering a not guilty plea on his behalf.
Judge, I'm going to waive probable cause as a result of being acquainted with the case. I'm waiving probable cause.
Thank you so much. And
Girl, why is he giving so much Sam Jackson? Okay.
Is there a plea?
He's giving Sam Jackson in early Sam Jackson.
This morning?
There's a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Plea of not guilty? Will you enter a plea of not guilty? And thank you. And as to bond, the state has requested a hearing on the issue of bond or bail. You may be aware of that.
I am aware of that.
Who would like to proceed?
I'm proceeding, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, a detective testified about what happened that day.
Tell me what he did after he stopped.
So based on witness statements as well as the video, the vehicle accelerated quickly, proceeded eastbound, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic when there was no longer traffic to obstruct. his travel. Crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic, went to the left of those little stanchions that are in the middle of the roadway, into the oncoming lanes, through the intersection, directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing.
Okay, I think we saw this part
Deputy
already.
Henderson.
Let's go over here. We saw that part already. So let's just see this. So when the brother went up and knocked at the window, this is what was popping off. This is what popped off. You see the brother back there with the toboggan hat on? The Scully. He's right there. Okay, there's the damn, he got pushed out. Wait, did that girl's shirt get pulled? Hold on. Did you see that girl's shirt was like all ripped? Look at the white girl. She kind of has black hair. Look, she had fallen. Girl, they had to pick her up off the floor. Look. Look, see her butt right there? Right here. Just notice this person right here with my little green thing in. Okay, she gets up. She didn't fall, but she almost fell. And look at the back of her shirt when she turns. He ripped her shirt, or he's grabbed her shirt. I mean, they're ousting people. Junior Boyd. William. Y'all need to stop. Can I get my phone? Damn, his brother's like 7 feet tall. He said, "Sir, I just want to get my phone."
I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me.
He saw you and he heard you.
My brother can't see me. They did this shit before. They did this shit before. That's the way to do it. They did it before. I got a video of them messing with my brother and me before. I ain't do nothing. I just wanted my brother to see me.
Calm down.
I ain't do nothing. That's my family. That's my family.
Jesus. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of pain. It's going to be okay. They need to take them to the victims. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, your brother is a defendant, but they're also victims' family because on top of all of this, they done lost the nephew. Nephew is dead. You have to plan for trial, but guess what? Y'all also planning for a funeral. This is very sad. They're going through tremendous grief. You know what I mean? Like I would say, sir, have a seat. But when you consider nephew, they got to plan a funeral for nephew. You know what I'm saying? Like this is bad. This is a very complex, multi-layer grief situation. You know what I mean? Nephew gone, brother now in jail. This is high stress. It's very sad. Very, very, very sad. I'll get some more detail because I mean all of this footage, I mean, I could show you another hour's worth. But it's all very much giving trauma. It's all very traumatic. But girl, they got the little babies up here talking. Hold on a second.
Collectively need to, as Senior said, find a way to love and forgive one another and look at our commonality to stop all this vitriol, this anger, this taking sides, this dart throwing, this hatred, because there is no good that will come from it on either side.
Judge Rucker, this may be a technical question for you or a family member. It was Friday afternoon around 1:30, or sorry, Friday afternoon. During Thursday's incident, what was Ryan 18? Was he in school? Was he out of school? What was his?
He was going to Don, and Don just closed.
And they closed, so he had not re-enrolled at CPS, for example, or whatnot. So I'm sorry if that was the case. So, Mom, would you care to say a few words? Mom, just shed some light where you are? No. That's fine. Thank you.
All right, well, if that's it, we're gonna end this press conference. Thank you all for coming out
They're gonna let the little baby say something. She wanted to say
and pray for
something.
all these, and just pray for all these families.
Zoe, you want to say something? That's his sister. That's his only sister.
Hi, I am Ryan's sister, only sister. And me, I did.
No, you did.
Oh, hi, I'm Zuri, and I am 10 years old, and I'm Ryan's only sister. And me and Ryan is 8 years apart. And Ryan was Ryan was the funniest person I ever met. And even though we used to fight a lot, so I'm done.
Okay. The family, please don't let baby girl talk anymore. Next time, let her write a speech. Somebody needs to edit it, make sure that she is on point, because I don't know if that's her granddaddy or not. I'm not trying to put too much out there. I don't know, but that's Ryan's sister. We don't know if they have the same daddy. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying I don't know but it seemed like she wanted to have something to say. I don't think it's set in yet, that it cannot have set in that her brother is gone. I don't know if that was her granddaddy who passed away. Ryan, not passed away, but who's in jail now. Baby, this is a mess. Anyway, we'll keep up on top of this. One of you guys, if you're listening right now, I'm not sure if you are, Tyshell Martin, the girlfriend who was entrusted with caring for Jamaria Sessions. Someone asked me for an update. I'm going to call the clerk's office tomorrow to see what I can find out, because the way they do their docket, I'm just not sure. I'm going to be honest. There are entries, but it's not clear to me what's going on these entries. And some of the documentation is secured because Jamaria was a child victim. And because of some of her, I think just her injuries were so bad and so complex and so severe. Some of the documentation and some of the things that they talk about are blocked. I haven't seen any updates on the news, any stories or news entries on any of the local papers. So I'm looking. So I'll see what kind of an update I can get. I can check in with the clerk's office just so they can explain to me the last couple of docket entries so that I can better explain to you guys what's going on. So anywho, she wasn't really a stepmother. She was I hate to say it like this, y'all. She was the girlfriend. They were not married. And she was the money hungry girlfriend who wanted the mother's Social Security check, because keep in mind, Jamaria Sessions' mother had passed away. Jamaria was getting Social Security from her mother's life, no longer living. And the daddy was about to break up with Tyshell. He already had another girlfriend. Keep in mind, the daddy had another girlfriend that he already has pregnant. Okay. Clock that. Did you guys know that? Jamaria was getting ready to be a big sister because she had the one sister, and her daddy already had another lady on the other side of town pregnant. Okay. Clock. Okay. So she was getting ready to be broken up with, and I wouldn't say she killed Jamaria to retaliate against Lawan, but it's quite possible. It just happened that way. She passed away. Her little body couldn't take it anymore. Very sad, right? Anyway, yeah, Tyshell, we're not even giving her stepmother, cis one wife. She wasn't a wife. She was getting ready to be broke up with, and Luan is in jail right there with her. So we're keeping up with Luan, Tyshell, Kimberly Martin is also in that jail too. I got so many people to check up on. I got to do some docket updates. So yeah, we got a lot of people to look up and see what's going on their dockets. We got lots of court this month. So anyway, you guys, and then Nesto, when's Nesto's date? I'm just kidding. Let me put him on my bulletin board though. I hadn't written him down on my bulletin board. 6-9 Nesto. Okay, I just put him on my dry erase board. Nesto on June 9th. Okay, y'all. Love you. Mean it. You guys are awesome. I will check you guys a little bit later. This was fun. If you're here upon the replay, make sure to hit the thumbs up for me. So number one, YouTube can share me around. That's how it works. So the engagement helps. So comment down below if you enjoyed today's episode. If there's something else you want to see, something else you want for me to check on, go ahead and comment it for me. Make sure to hit the thumbs up and share me out. That's what I need, Bougie Gang. You guys are awesome. Have a good afternoon. I feel like we've been together all day, y'all. Okay. All right. You guys take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.